on Google Play or App Store. Please download the Vesti app. That is the operating system for human and capital global mobility. On the Vesti app, you can see different migration pathways. We're going to be talking a lot about special talent visas and a lot of other visa concierge services that we do offer here at Vesti. And interestingly, you can find all these pathways right on the Vesti app. For the very first time, users can visualize their migration journey from the beginning till the end, even till they get to their destination country of choice. This we do so well, and we are so excited about the future we are building for everyone here at Vesti. Once again, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for creating time to joining us here at the Going Global event, a meet and greet session with Olusola Amusan, the co-founder and CEO of Vesti. Without wasting much of our time, I want to quickly invite, it's important that we also hear what was his own experience with us, and you are able to connect with that, and we can set the context for today's meet and greet session. And afterwards, we're going to invite Olusola Amusan, the co-founder and CEO of Vesti, who is also going to give us some insights about the different migration pathways, particularly the special talent visas that I know that many of us here are here to hear a lot about, and we will be so glad to answer every of your questions and innermost contemplations, essentially. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome on stage architect Fakonlu Oluwabusui. He is the founder CEO at Comfort Architectural Finishing. Please give him a round of applause as he comes on stage with me. Okay, thank you so much for coming on board to have this conversation with us. So this is going to be very, very interactive, and essentially we want you to tell your story. First of all, it's important for us to know, how did you hear about Vesti? We hear a lot of people tell us about, oh, I got to know about you on your digital platforms, or I was referred by a friend or someone that has passed through the process before. It's important to let us know. Please tell us, what was your first impression and how did you get to know about Vesti?
Thank you. I'm an architect, as he has introduced me. I'm into construction and real estate. So sometime in 2022, I was rounding up a program at Lagos Business School. So I was just flipping through my Instagram page. So I saw this post by JT, Jimmy Tewi. He was talking about being globally mobile. And before then, you know, I've been having this nudge that life doesn't have to. You understand? So, and I've been outside the country for a number of times, and I've been to US. I've been going to US since 2017. So each time I travel, I notice that I don't have the palpitation. But when I get back to, there are some things that I'm going through that my heart then was actually older than my age, because of the level of work and pressure that I've subjected myself to. So I started planning and strategizing. So I listened to JT's Instagram post. Then he announced that there was going to be a clarity section or a webinar with Mr. Shola, that people should subscribe. So I am an optimist. When I got home, I discussed with my wife. I have a friend in Houston, Texas, who always hosts me each time I travel. They were like, Instagram, okay, you better be careful. I said, but I look up that I said he's working with Vesti, and Vesti is registered. I checked their profile. It seems that they are legit. They said, but see, be careful. But I didn't discuss with them further because I don't want anybody to discourage what I've decided to.
You're truly an optimist.
Yeah, so I paid the 35, I think, about $50 then. So it was 35,000 naira.
For the clarity session?
For the, not the clarity section, the webinar. Okay. So I took my time. very unlike me. I spent like an hour listening to the conversation. Mr. Shola was there. I think Mr. Bankole I mean, was it Mr. Bankole or Mr. Stephen Harris? One of them was also on that webinar. So I listened to it. Then I then reached out to him that I want to try it out. Because, when I heard, he said he migrated with O1, people with exceptional ability. I was afraid. Am I am I exceptional? What am I exceptional at? So he said he will encourage me to have a clarity section with Mr. Shola, which I did. And from there, we started little by little, little by little. We did a Zoom call, and it was very friendly. I told him everything about me, and he said, Mr. Fakonlu, you can do it. You are a person of exceptional ability. I'm sure it will work. So that was how it started.
Interesting, interesting. I think I love the fact that from the beginning you knew what you wanted. Like you had that. One of the things we've seen with many people that interact with us is the fact that sometimes they don't even know the particular pathway or whatever pathway they want to take advantage of. Like that knowledge gap is also there. We identify it a lot. So the fact that you've been able to, and you also had the right source of information that was able to guide you and direct you to the right path to say, no, you need to join a particular session and you need to talk with an expert who could also guide you on that line. Interesting. The next point I want to ask you, the next question I want to ask you now is in respect to the process. We've talked about how you got to know about us and you were making commitments right away, like you were convinced and you were going to get started with the process. Now, that particular process with Vesti, was it seamless? Did you get value for what you so desire at the time? How would you describe that process of you making that commitment to say, yes, this is after jumping on a clarity session and you are going to make commitments, and that particular process from the beginning till you got to your destination country? How would you describe the entire process with Vesti and the team that was managing your case at the time?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Vesti is a very professional company because something happened along the way. I got worried. You understand? I was a little bit in hurry to get it done. So, if I send an email, Vesti is an American company. You understand? Now, the way we do things here, you can easily pick your phone and call the MD and say, Mr. Shola, it doesn't work like that in America. The way we do things here is totally different in America. So I got a little bit worried trying to transition, you understand, from the way we do things here and the way they do things over there. And it really cost me. I'll be honest with you, because, when I had the clarity section with Mr. It was like between 3 to 6 months, we should be able to bid your case, because I already have some of the requirements, but some were still like, you need to be a recipient of some awards. There are several, the way we do business here, we don't document them. I've been in business as an entrepreneur since 2009, for going to about 16 years now. You'll be surprised that apart from the contracts that I did with the federal government, I did a lot of construction jobs unofficially. Unofficially in the sense that somebody will just, we just agree. The American call it implied intention, implied contract. Maybe we just met. You told me you want to build the house, do the design, do the drawings. 100 million naira, I'll be okay. I'll pay you. No documentation. So the only award letters that I could use as evidence of doing contracts were the ones that were very official that I did with government. So I had to start building that. I had to work on getting some awards. Before then, a lot of people do reach out to me, being an entrepreneur, from junior chambers, from Rotary Club. We are having this program, come and sponsor us. We want to give you this award. I'll be like, what do I need the award for? I never knew how useful those things could be. So I started reaching out to them. So when I have been able to build some evidences, I thought that I was ready. So I now I sent a mail. So I was like, there's still something that we would like you to do, that we want you to write a book. You understand? And I have a lot of topics that I've been researching and working on. So I was like, me that I'm thinking that we just submit. Why are you just telling me now that I need to write a book? So I got impatient, consulted another lawyer in New York. So that was where I missed it. Because the guy was like, when he reviewed my evidences, Mr. Shola is hearing this for the first time. I don't know, maybe Mr. Damola told you. So I reached out to this guy in New York. He was like, I've reviewed your CV, I've reviewed your evidences. You can pass for EB2 NIW. So when I heard EB2 NIW, green card directly, I was so carried away. And I spent a lot on that. So I was not rejected, but they kept sending requests for evidence. We'll go and look for this today, we'll go and look for that tomorrow. So I had to retrace my step. I had to call JT and say, I'm humble now. Even if it's going to take additional 3 to 6 months more, I'm ready to write the book. I'm ready to do. So it wasn't easy. But when I got impatient, I paid for it. Because I'll be honest with you, I've spoken and I've consulted with Ann Bassey, one of the top people that do this visa thing in US. I've spoken with this Udoka guy in New York. Vesty still happened to be the cheapest of them all. So I started learning. Maybe it's the way God redirected me that, no, you are going to America or either to stay or to be flexible, to be able to travel and come back. The way you do things here, that you submit today, you want to collect it tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. So I came back I started my own journey. We had the call on the 31st of August, 2022. Because I remember that, you asked me, where are you calling for today? I said I was in UK in Canary Wharf. I remember the call vividly. So I started my own ending of August. By January, February, I thought I was ready. I wasn't. So when I came back, I did a book. I came back sometimes around June, sir. I was lost between March and June on the journey. You understand? Because I wanted to start doing, because I already have some investment in the US before then. And the government was just taking advantage of my tax credit. So, and I wanted something that could give me the social security number so that the taxes they were deducting from my investment, at least I'll be able to use them. I'll be able to get the tax credit. So I came back in June, did the book in July, and so I think Vesty submitted sometimes in August, on August 30 or August 31st. The approval came on the 12th of September. So, and I was happy and glad for it.
Fantastic. Please, let's appreciate that process. That's quite incredible. Yes, I'm sure many of us are hearing conversations around evidences. We are going to dive into that in the course of my conversation with Mr. Olusola Amusan, and you get some clarity about that. And I'm so excited to hear how true and real it was with that particular insight he has been able to share. Many people engage the team and they want to get the process started. They get the process started and they get lost in the process. And later on, they get themselves back on track and they say, oh, okay, let us align. That kind of, we see that a lot. Also, people trying to compare to see, okay, this is your own process. I can also double check, fact check. How is it also being done somewhere else? And they're able to see that, okay, these people are actually on the right track. And I love the fact that you talked about the fact that you needed to publish a book. It was recommended that you need to position yourself for such thought leadership, which is also part of the evidences that we'll be talking about much later. And you had to realign and, get yourself in that process. Very beautiful, interesting submissions. The next focus I will be asking you right now is, now, after you got the O1 visa. By the way, that was the O1 visa that was a pathway you chose. Yes. After you got there, how was the process of transitioning from here, which is your source country, to the destination country? Because here at Vesti, we pride in the fact that it's not just helping you through moving, but even when you get to your destination country and every minute after, we will be able to, get and hold you through that entire process. So now that you got you got the visa and you've gotten to that, how has that phase of acclimatizing to your new destination country? How has it been? Culture shock? How has the entire experience been essentially?
Well, what actually helped me is planning ahead. It's not something that I just woke up to say today I'm going to America. And that's, you see some funny video and reels on Instagram. It's not easy to live abroad, though. It's not easy to do this. It's not easy to do that. Me, I am an entrepreneur. So I'm a solution provider. We look at the gaps in communities. What can we do to solve problems? And in the process, you understand, Vesti is doing this to solve some problems for people, because I noticed that what they are getting in it is not the only motivation. When my approval came out, Mr. Damula sent a mail to me that, wants to come in, let me have your I-94. For the benefit of people that doesn't know the meaning of I-94, that's the record of you coming into the United States of America and living. Do you know what he wants to use that for? Is for him to be able to keep guiding me and advising. Maybe when it's time for me to apply for the next stage, to convert my O1 to green card. You understand? So I planned ahead. I'm a developer. I'm an architectural technologist. During the process of preparing my resume to meet the standard of O1, I had to join American Institute of Architects. I went for their conference in San Francisco last year, June. By God's grace, I'll be going for the one in Washington this year, June again. You understand? So I already have a part of me in America even before starting the O1. And my own mission is not leaving Nigeria totally, because by God's grace, you understand, by all standard, I'm an established businessman in Nigeria. And I'm not ready to just close down my business because I want to. So that's the reason why I had to look for, a lot of people relocate abroad with B1, B2. They get hooked because there's limitations to what they can do. But when you go to any of these countries that are doing well, with the right document, you'll be able to take the advantage. America is a capitalist country. It's not a country you just go and say you are relocated to go and be doing 9 to 5. If you go and do 9 to 5 in America, a lot of people will struggle. You need to have a problem you are solving for people. So what I do now, you said, how easy is it for me to adapt?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I think you already talked about it. Joining those professional bodies right there.
You understand? I joined the professional body. Then one other thing I would like to encourage us with, people that are yet to make up their mind, is this process. You're not just relocating. You're not just going to America. You are making yourself a better person. I'll be honest with you. When I started the process, I graduated in 2001. It was when I started the process that I went back to Nigerian Institute of Architects to go and register for my own class of qualification. I went to Lagos State chapter of Real Estate Developer Association of Nigeria. I joined the Federation of Construction Industry of Nigeria. I joined the Chartered Institute of Architectural Technologies in the United Kingdom. So it really helped me to even build my own personal brand. It's not just you are just leaving the country, you want a visa to be able to travel with. If it's just that, you can just look for 150 million, go and buy Grenada. You don't need to go through. But if you go through, I'm an author today. Because of this process, America is in their tax season now, from January, I think, till 15th of May.
Absolutely.
So I was surprised before I left about 2 weeks ago. I got a mail from Amazon. They sent my 1042. 1042 is the evidence of the taxes that they've deducted from the book that they've sold for me on their platform. So if you are doing this, you're not just going abroad to go and enjoy abroad. You are not just going abroad to go and enjoy the environment. You are building. Last week I got a mail from African CEO through the United Nations Global Compact that they are having a meeting in Rwanda that I should register for it. You understand? So these are the kind of positioning,
Opportunities.
the opportunity that you get. I mean, doing this. I've met a lot of people. You understand? And here is even a book that I've not even really published and talk about.
That is gaining traction.
And it's gaining traction. You understand? So if you submit yourself to this process and you are patient enough to give it all that it takes, you are going to gain a lot more than going to America.
Correct. I love what you've just hit the nail on the head, which is about migrating with purpose. Like not just doing it because other people are doing it, or just following the crowd. You must ask yourself, this particular pathway, does it align with my own personal goals and aspirations? You need to be able to answer those questions critically, and find your bearing, speak to an expert, and I could see a lot of alignment with your own purpose. You could hear him list a lot of professional bodies. A lot. He said the process even made him publish a book. Those are things that you try to position yourself for, developing your personal brand and identity, aligning with your own professional goals and aspirations. And these, of course, we can say has really, really, positioned you on that pedestal. And talking about patience, many people also are on different pathways. They cannot really exercise the patience. And another important point that you also mentioned is the fact that it's not just getting vested engaged with the process, but you also committing to doing the work. Because it's not just vested doing the work of walking you through that process, but you on your own, you also have a sense of responsibility, particular migration goal, within a particular specified period of time, which has been very, very evident in the story you've shared. Once again, I want to really appreciate you for sharing this insight. This is very, very phenomenal, quite inspiring, and I'm sure that many people here must have gotten a lot of nuggets and insights from your personal story. Just before I bring this session to a close, and I will bring in Olusola Amusan to also share some insights, I just want I want you to give your final words to motivate and inspire someone right here in the audience to perhaps they've started the process with us and they are they're having a stumbling block. They don't even know if they want to still continue with the process, or they have not even committed to starting the process, and perhaps today is the first day they are hearing about a company called Vesti, and they are just so inquisitive to find out what's this company about. They will talk about migration. They will talk about being a global citizen. You talked about that migration with purpose, that like it summarizes everything you said, and that's the focus of today's meeting, going global. Like having that global mindset anywhere you are. And also talking about your personal story again, saying it was not just about leaving Nigeria, because you also have a business right here in Nigeria, which of course you were fulfilled doing it right here in Nigeria. Yeah, but you also wanted to position yourself for global relevance, global opportunities, which is quite phenomenal, very, very important, and most people need to align with such. So I want you to wrap up, give us your final words that will inspire somebody watching us, perhaps watching us in the next few months as this is being recorded. I don't know wherever you may be watching us from, or someone right here in this room that will be hearing this inspiring story that you've shared. Just share some insights and let us live with that.
What the simple thing I'll say to close this out is, JT said something in that video that time that Jesus, sorry that I'm going spiritual. Yeah. Jesus said that you are the light of the world. He said Jesus did not tell him that he's the light of Nigeria alone. So please don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. I was approved in September. If I went for the interview, I was denied at the interview. I had to come back to prepare again for the interview the second time. You can ask me, and I want to thank Mr. Wali, Mr. Shola. Mr. Wali did I have not worked with a better person. I'll be honest with you, very kind, very responsive, and very helpful. He will call, is everything okay? What do we do now? How do we go about it? So my approval came, I was only approved at the interview on the 6th of November. And what was the reason why I was denied is I was asked this question, and my answer wasn't, convincing
Convincing.
enough. What these guys are looking at in you is Americans are they pride. Just being an American, builds a kind of confidence and gives you a kind of pride. If you are talking to them, they want you to talk confidently. They want you to talk convincingly. Even what one of the RFEs that was sent to me, they said, we are not even saying your business should be successful, but let that business plan convince us. So, guys, don't limit yourself. The sky is the limit. Sir, between November and now that I got approved, I've closed out about 7 deals, which would have been impossible if I don't have that approval. Now, the rate at which they are giving their American citizen any kind of loan or facility is the same rate that the only thing I can't do now is I can't vote. And I can go in, I can come out at will. There's no limitation. No limitation that you have to go and spend 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just being mindful that by the time I want to do the next stage, they won't say, we gave you this, now how did you use it? You only spend a week or 2. You went back to your country. What do you need it for? You understand? That's the reason why I'm trying to maybe do 6 weeks in and 6 weeks over there. So don't limit yourself. Don't limit. There is a lot happening out there. There is a lot. You can do well and you can do better. If you are doing good here, you will do better there. Don't limit yourself. There is a lot happening out there. And don't just listen to some people that will post some messy, misleading information that is not easy abroad. If you are hardworking here, you will excel. Over there, just plan yourself. Look at the problem you can solve to make things easier for people. So in Houston, Richmond, they don't wake up the way we wake up here by 6:37. People don't get to work until around 10 a.m. and they are doing well. It's not all this stress. I was there for about 7 weeks. I did not have palpitation for a day. My palpitation resumed last week. I'm telling you the truth. Because, when you are doing, I used to discourage a lot of people that want to migrate. I would say, what are you going to look out for? You understand? But if you travel abroad with the right paper, you'll be good for it. You enjoy your life. Then you create a better future for your father. One more thing, let me just add this. My dad came to Lagos in 2009 when we had our firstborn. We were going to Alagbole Akute, for some of us that know that area. When we got to Ojodubega, it was like, where are we? I said, we're at Ojodubega. I said, no, it's not possible. That they were begging him to come and buy a plot of land during the oil boom then for 30 naira. That I declined it. That if there's any regret that I had in his life, is that he doesn't have a single plot to his name in Lagos. So see, the world is moving. The world is a global village. Position yourself for opportunities. Position, and by the time you go out there, there are things you can bring back home, and there are things you can also take back there. You understand that? Join good communities, not communities that bring people down, that criticizes people. Define your purpose in life. You understand? I'm Oluwabusi Fakolu Adonis. I'm a builder, architectural technologist, and a developer. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Shola.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, we can do better than that. Please, before you go, let's take a picture. I don't know if the camera... let's take a picture. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Architect Afakon. Please, let's celebrate him. Let's give him a round of applause. That was a very powerful story, and I'm inspired myself, and I'm sure those who have migrated can also relate to some of those lived experiences that he has shared here. Without wasting much of our time, we'll be going right into why we are here, which is the meet and greet with Olusola Amusan, the co-founder and CEO at Vesti. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I bring him right on stage to have an interesting conversation with him.
Thank you so much. I thought I might stand for a minute because I've been sitting
Oh,
for the most part of the day, but maybe we start this way. I was almost going to say that we should just round up. After architects, give that, because I don't think I've done a better job of doing a clarity session before. And it's also quite interesting that, the time is moving really fast. Like you would have this session now, and then you would just open our eyes and it's 2025 June. Time moves so fast. But the decisions you make today are the things that really determine what's going to happen. I've told my story several times, and I would also tell my own story today.
I was going to ask you.
You are
to
going to
tell a
ask me.
story.
Okay, so when Ife and I do this, I end up not letting him ask me questions. So Ife, should we go your route?
No. Please go ahead with your story.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to tell my story because I've told this story before. I wrote a book in the year 2010 as a college student. It was ASU strike, and I got this phrase like in my mind. I don't know whether one of those people used to write poem in secondary school, long poem, articles, all of that. So I've really been a writing person. My printer lost my first manuscript when I was like maybe 14 or 15 of a book I wanted to do, and I wouldn't forget. Eventually, I was writing this article during the ASU strike of that year, and it turned out that it was getting more than an article. So it became a book. The title of that book is Are You Branded or Stranded? So I'd written that book, published it that year, and sort of like it was how I made my first million. So I, got awards because of that, did all those things. And I didn't know that book, so that year I wrote that book, I also, got to win an award as Nigeria's champion for the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards, because I was still a student. And I was supposed to go to Kansas in the United States to, receive the award. But I didn't even get a visa interview date at Walter Carrington. So, the issue of dates didn't just start today.
Absolutely.
Especially because it was just about a month to the time that I got the award. So I couldn't make that trip. But I didn't know that year I was already qualified for the O1 visa. It was not until 9 years after, 9 solid years after, that somebody told me that if you're an author or you've published a book, you can actually qualify for the O1 visa. And the difference between how many authors are in this room? Anybody? 1, 2. Okay, how many authors are not in? Okay, how many people in this room are not authors? Please raise your hand now. Like, one interesting thing about when we don't want to participate, some people just say, other people have raised their hand. Why should I raise my own? So actually only 3 people raise their hand that they are authors. So the rest of us are not authors. But the difference between you not being an author and being an author is that you write a book, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry, do you understand what I'm saying? And if they say writing a book is what will make you qualify to get a US visa, are you not ready to write a book? Do you understand what I'm saying? If they say that's what makes you qualified, are you not going to start writing from tonight? Let's get this book ready already. So I didn't know that just having that book, I missed other things like publishing articles about the book, newspaper articles about the book, all of that, statistics about how many people have read the book and things like that. All that matters, and when you put it together, it's one of the evidences for that O1 visa. So it was when I found out 9 years later that I started putting things together. And of course, like every other person, when I heard, maybe I didn't take action immediately until I had another life-changing incident in my life that Nigeria wanted to happen to me. Then I remembered again. That's you, right?
That's your
You only remember you want to move abroad once that dollar goes high, once fuel increases, when the party you voted for did not get into power, when there's a almost near-death experience. That's really when many of us remember. But we forget that it's not only about saving our lives, it's also about fulfilling our potential. So every extra day you spend in a place where your potential is not being fulfilled is actually like another wasted day. So you have to look at yourself. I mean, Mr. Architect Fakonlu made it very simple. If you think you are good, you'll be better. If you think you are better, you'll be the best. If you think you're even the best right now, you'll be the best at a different level when you make that decision. So ultimately, I got the O1 visa. I applied just like Architect Fakonlu. I applied in maybe April ending. I got my visa, I think, on May 7th, like 9 days after. I got my approval, about 9 days after. The approval met me in the US. I was visiting just for something else random. So I was visiting at the approval because I didn't believe. We had bought vacation ticket for that year to travel. Like, we're going to travel in June. So I said, this April thing I'm even doing, if it works or when it works. I didn't know it was going to be a 9 days thing. After 9 days, the result came out, and we still had not, we still had our vacation in front of us. Anyways, I came back home, and then we agreed and decided. As a matter of fact, I packed my bags to the embassy the day I got the visa. You don't understand? You don't get, like, I was going from the embassy to the airport. That once I pick up the visa, I'm just going to be going like that. Pick up day. Of course, they give you decision that day, but that's not the day you go and pick up. But in my own case, I went there and then I had an issue with my passport. My passport data page, there was no place to stamp. So the guy asked me that, do I want to collect the visa on my palm or what? And this is why when our team speaks to people, they usually tell them, take your passport along to the embassy. And sometimes, why will you be reminding me of that? I have many people who have gone to the embassy without taking their passports. I've seen that before. And I also went once without having a page to stamp. I just assumed they will put it on one of the pages that had extra stamps and they will just paste it on. Anyways, so at the time when we went back to get our passport, the day we were to go there and go pick up the Vignet, the one that has the stamp, that was the day we were ready to move. So we packed our bags and all of that. I'm just trying to tell you how ready I was, eventually. And then, of course, many years later now, went from the O1 to the EB1, got the green card, and, the rest is history. But it shouldn't just be about us. It shouldn't be just me, my co-founder. Some of you have heard our story. We both migrated to the US. I migrated as a worker. Like, he migrated first as a student, to the US, did his master's degree and all of that. So we don't just want it to be about us. And we don't just want it to be about America. We don't just want it to be about, Nigerians going to America. We are building a platform that helps people to move from anywhere to anywhere, starting from Nigeria to the US, and now we launched in Zambia, in Ghana, in the United Kingdom. And why is all this necessary? Like, if all you care about is moving to the US, why am I saying all of this? Because what we're building is not a travel agency. What we're building, and nothing is wrong with being a travel agency. What we're building is a global mobility company that is helping people to truly fulfill their potential and achieve their dreams. And it's important for me to say that because it helps us not to be categorized in the bucket of people who just want to collect your money and go away. And we don't get to have people like Architect Falcon who come back to do success stories a lot. Because people that are successful with these things, they've started their life elsewhere. That they don't even have time to convince anybody. See, Architect Falcon is still saying that, in case you don't believe me, I'm true. And you know what occurred to me last month when we did the H-1B visa? There is nothing you can tell a skeptic person or somebody who has a high level of skepticism about what you are doing. There's nothing you can show him. Even if he brought his visa here today, some people will say you run it. They can run it in Olusola. Some people are even thinking, why is he here? Maybe he has gone. How did they come here to be here? We didn't pay him anything. I couldn't even pay him if I wanted to. You understand what I'm saying? So, it's just interesting. Over 1,000 people have moved through us. People have moved to the UK, to Canada, to the US since we started. Students, workers. This year alone, about 200 people will move only through H1B alone.
That's just a pathway.
Just was one pathway. H1B. So all of them sound alike. And sorry, some of us are used to the jargon. So we just say it sometimes forgetting that there are people in the room who might not know. The H1B visa is a specialty occupation visa. It's a temporary work permit. Temporary means that, okay, this is not a permanent residency. And essentially allows you to work for 3 years, renew again for another 3 years. So that's like 6 years in total as a worker with Social Security, covering your family as well to move to America. It's a lottery-based system. So when you hear somebody again say, I thought they canceled lottery for Nigerians. People have heard that and they just feel like, oh, this is another scam. They've come again. This is a work visa lottery. It is not the diversity visa lottery that ended. It didn't get cancelled. We met our quota. Whenever a country meets their quota, that country will not be able to use that pathway again. So that's another thing about, I will do it in 3 years' time. I'll do it next year. Once the quota is met, the people that went with diversity visa lottery today, many of them have even become citizens. Let me tell you one surreal story that my brother told me, my co-founder told me about a friend of ours who basically, got into the visa lottery, diversity visa lottery many years ago. So when he was getting into that lottery, it was his friend that sort of paid for him. This was over 10 years ago. Paid for him to get into the lottery, diversity visa lottery. They didn't pick the friend, they picked him. So he moved to America, became a citizen and everything, nice family, he's our family friend. And so this year, he supported his friend to get into the lottery for the work visa, and they picked him. It's such an interesting story, right? You would live for something like that. You would see that what we live for is not just cash. It's stories like that. It's not just profits. It's stories like that because it's life-changing. I don't have no regrets in life, but I think about my journey as a person. And I feel like maybe if I had gone to Kansas in 2020, I would have maybe been in space now, or maybe in NASA, which are some of my lifelong dreams, right? Maybe I'll have been in NASA or something. I'll have been young enough to maybe join the U.S. military and do whatever and, whatever. I don't know. Do you get what I mean? Like, who knows? No regrets because time and chance happens, right? But, many of us also forgive ourselves by saying things like, you might not have worked out. Maybe something would have happened. Maybe, what if something would not have happened? Maybe you would have been Elon Musk's, right-hand man now. You know what I mean? So it's always important to take advantage of the opportunities in the lifetime of the opportunity. So that is my opening story. I hope you enjoyed it.
Interesting. Please celebrate him. Celebrate him. Thank you so much. It's always interesting to hear you share this over. By the way, this is not the first time I'm hearing him share this, like over and over again, and it's super, super inspiring. Just to, because of time, I want us to really go into the nitty-gritty of this conversation today, and the whole conversation about evidences. I really want us to, hit it on the head, and go right into it. There are many people here hearing about those different pathways, the special talent visas, the evidences required. Like they could hear architect talking about what he had to do, what he didn't have, and he had to put some things together to, get those things done within a specified period of time. And you also, realizing that even years before, you've been qualified for these because of some very germane things that you've done, interesting things that you've done that typically qualifies you for those special pathways. Could you please just give us an overview of what those pathways are and the required evidences respectively?
That's right. So we'll spotlight some of them, and then we would let your questions bring us to some other ones. So typically I will talk about 3 visa routes, and I will talk about 1 extra one. So you can keep me accountable on that. I'll talk about the O1 visa. I'll talk about the EB1 visa. I'll talk about the EB2 NIW visa. And I'll give you extra on the H1B because I'm one of the, my co-founder is looking at me now. So I'm one of the people on the team that is already talking about 2025 H1B. And they're like, how far? We have not even finished 2024. So I'll talk about that briefly because we have an action item for those who are interested in that. So let's start from the O1 visa, and then we'll go to EB1 and EB2 since they look alike. And if you have a pen, you can write, but also, aside the code, I will also give you English names for them so that it's easier to be able to grasp. So let's start with the O1 visa. It's called the Alien with Extraordinary Ability visa. And that is just long, English for people with exceptional ability. Now, how the United States categorizes people with exceptional ability all over the world is that you have made certain type of contribution in your field. This particular visa type doesn't care whether you're a graduate or not. You can be a high school leaver, you can be an HND holder, OND holder, bachelor's degree, master's, PhD. You can be any of these things. Because it's focused on people in sports, athletics, science, arts, business. I'm making these categories because the question I usually hear is, so I'm a fashion designer, can I get in? If you are in business, you can get in. So think about any business that you do. And it's interesting to know that, are you serious? They actually have a visa that covers me as a barber. Like, seriously? If you are really an exceptional barber. So all we need to prove here is your exceptional ability. And they now add a series of evidences to determine what is exceptional ability. So there are some things they've listed that say, if you say you're a barber, but you have published articles in newspapers about your barbing and your barbing salon.
The dexterity behind it.
The dexterity behind it. You say this is one of the top barbers in Lagos, and it was published on Punch newspaper. They are saying that you are exceptional. I'm using barber because some of us here who now do something very, very special, we still go on and ask questions. Actually, I'm a molecular biologist. Do you think I will qualify? Of course you will, as long as you're exceptional. So arts, science, business, sports, covers television and media. It covers all of that. So these are some of the evidences. Evidence of articles in newspapers and publications with high reputation. Evidence of awards, of receiving awards in the field that you have chosen. Evidence of being in memberships in organizations that have a distinguished reputation. Evidence of high salary or reward, which can be evidenced by pay stubs, taxes, contracts. Evidence that you've been employed in critical capacity in an organization with distinguished reputation. I've not done this in a while, so it seems like
publications.
Evidence of publications. Hey, you can see that I'm struggling a little bit. You know, so this high salary, you know, so these things are there like that. Evidence of judging other people's work, of being a judge of other people's work. These are interesting categories that by just reading it, you might not even know that you qualify for some of this. For example, evidence of judging the work of others is so contextual in different countries. And in Nigeria, one of the things you can use to qualify for evidence of judging the work of others is being on a panel. Being on a panel, being a panelist, judging the work of others. An American lawyer cannot interpret that. Even a white lawyer, a Caucasian cannot. There are awards that you've received in Nigeria that you would think this is nothing. JCI gave me an award. Rotaract gave me an award. What is this? They just gave us this award, this leadership organization, Foursquare Women International. They gave me this award. It's nothing. But this is an organization of about 600,000 women across the country, and they recognized you at Ajebo Camp in Ogun State. And they gave you a certificate. I'm telling you a real life story. I have a client who moved, and she had those kind of awards. So it is the way the story is told. JCI Eko is JCI Eko. Lagos is, you know, the maybe foremost economic capital in Africa, right? The way it's described. So these are very important. The context is very important. Evidence of articles published. You know, despite the fact that we look at these things and feel like they are, you know, simple because you got a a newspaper to publish you and it was so easy. You know, Vesti linked you up with somebody, which we do, or you have even done this before by yourself. You know, you've forgotten that not everybody gets on the pages of newspapers. That paper printed in how many copies? Maybe 500,000 copies, 500,000 copies, 200,000 copies across the country every single day. Of course, many of the newspapers are dropping the number of prints they are doing now because people are doing joint reading at the junction. Most people are not ordering newspapers except hotels and government offices. Everybody's reading online. But just getting on those newspapers, all of those things are very, very significant. So what we have seen is there are people who inherently qualify for this by virtue of their work. They are truly exceptional. Like, if won this award, won that award, they're not even keeping track anymore. They're just exceptional. Now, there are other people who are also exceptional in their work, but they have never paid attention to these requirements, like architects said. They've never paid attention. You've done 15 years in an employment. You've won multiple awards year on year, gotten salary reviews. You've done promotional exams. You've done all these things. You've joined memberships, or you joined membership 10 years ago, but the membership has expired. But you know the list of those organizations. And when you don't, we even provide it for you. So there are people who inherently qualify, and there are people who don't inherently qualify, who need to get themselves qualified because, oh, now they need to publish a book about this field that they have been in for 10 years, 15 years. You've never seen yourself as an author before, but you suddenly realize that this is, and sir, architect, and this is why you must listen to diverse opinion and listen to people. Since we start this, I say this in all humility, I have never considered the documentation support as a way to improve yourself. I say this with humility. Despite the fact that I'm in the self-development space, it never occurred to me to say, wait, literally, you suddenly joined 10 organizations in your field. You suddenly wrote a book. You did this, you did that. Your life, your quality of your life just significantly increases. It just never occurred to me in that way to see that, oh, wow, really? So you're going through a process that just changes everything about you in terms of like how you respond to things, how you see life and everything. So I thank you for giving us the gift of that. Please help me appreciate him one more time. You know, so in not being inherently qualified, you can suddenly realize that by virtue of a documentation support program, you will start getting all those things. And that's why I say people should not be scared or afraid. I know this is mainstream, streamed online, so regardless of that, I will still say this. I've met people who are very successful in their career, but I used to say that I'm Yoruba, so I can use some balance. They didn't have moi moi leaves. Do you know what moi moi leaves is in terms of documentation? Like when they say that in Yoruba, they're trying to say they didn't have anything. They were okay in their field. Like this guy has been head of this in this company, head of that. Never published a single newspaper in his life. Never wrote a book. Never did that. And within a 6 month to 1 year period, we worked with them. They got all of these things ready, got their visa, and moved to America. Legit. And there is nothing. The USCIS doesn't see anything wrong with it because you've been exceptional. We're just finding evidences of your exceptional nature. We didn't bring it from heaven. We didn't claim that you are not what you are. We're just now documenting the evidence of being exceptional. So the O1 visa, let me tell you some of the benefits. It's a 3-year visa, but it's so special that you can renew it infinitely. Meaning that after the first 3 years, you just keep renewing it every year. You get your social security number. You are able to bring your spouse and your kids that are under the age of 21. So this works for you if you're a family of 5, family of 4. Like this is really beautiful because you only pay for one person. You don't get to pay for everybody. It doesn't require proof of funds. So you're not raising proof of funds up and down. You just pay. You do it, you gather, and we don't submit your case if you don't have strong chance of succeeding. The reason is because we ourselves don't want to reduce our success rate. So if your case is not airtight, we're going to ask you to keep gathering the document. We're going to say, no, and I think it should be in the interest of people, right? To be like, I said I'm not sure that you can get this thing right now. Not because we want to waste your time, but we think you should go get this, go get that. So you see some people whose cases are evaluated because it's a subjective process. So our team is trying to behave like the approving officer, the case officer, to say, if I saw this, will I approve this person as an extraordinary ability person, as an exceptional ability person? And if I see it and I'm like, that's why the fact that we gave this guy the requirement and he has done all this, and I still don't feel satisfied, it's in the interest of the person for me to say, no, I don't feel satisfied. Let's go gather some more documents. The reason why there is that argument in the first place is, for some of you wondering, is because the minimum number of evidences you need, actually, the actual criteria you need to meet, not number of evidences, because you may have many evidences for one category. Like if you have 5 newspaper articles, that's 5 evidences for one category, right? So you only need 3 out of these 7 criteria we tried to reel out the other time. Just 3. That's what the USCIS is. So sometimes some people go like, maybe I have the 3 already. Let's go and submit now. And I'm like, no, you are not. This is not strong enough because somebody's 3 is stronger than. There are people that have 1 out of 7. They managed to get 2 others. But you see that one is a Nobel laureate. Do you understand what I'm saying? That one is a Guinness World Record. That one, so some evidences are really strong. So because it's a subjective process, our team looks at it with the eye of the experts to say, oh, this is not ready to go. So someone who has 3 evidences that are not strong enough may be asked to get 5 evidences or 7 evidences so that the case officer has really no choice than to look at it and say, okay, this is actually good to go. So that's the O1 visa for you. The benefits are amazing. It's good for entrepreneurs. It's also good for people who are not even entrepreneurs. Intrapreneurs, employees actually use it as well. People don't know that you can actually get the O1 visa and still work with another company. People say, oh, you can only work with your company. Yes, that's true. That's what the law says. But in the way employment is structured, there are employments where you can be seconded to another company. Meaning that you can be working with architect. What's the name of your company? CAF. CAF. So CAF, for example, he works with CAF under O1. Then he can get a job with, let's say, the Dallas Construction Company as a senior architect consultant practitioner. Whatever, if that is a thing. So basically, Dallas Construction LLC pays CAF to pay him. And many people don't know that this is a thing. There is also O1 transfer, where you can actually transfer from CAF to Dallas Construction LLC, and they now become your sponsor. So, but we don't advise people to do that because the day the company fires you, that's the day you are also coming back to motherland. It's not the same day anyway. The lawyers will tell you how it works. 30 days. Hey, you're making it worse. So you get about 30 days notice. So basically, I'm sure there's nobody in this room that will fire themselves. Anybody? Like you will start a company and you fire yourself from the company. It is not possible. So that's why the O1 is very good. Because the structure is that you register a company in the process, if you don't have a US company already. Some people have US companies already. You'll be surprised because the US is so amazing that you could actually register a company while living in Nigeria, in America, and you'll be taking contracts, doing things. That's how their own economy is built. So let's say you don't have the company, we'll register the company in the course of the process for you. And once you register the company will hire you. So your company is hiring you. You must have heard that in business studies before, that your company is different from you. But many times we don't remember that there are two entities. So the company can actually hire you. The company has an employer identification number, which is like a tax ID for businesses. And then the company will write you a letter of employment. Somebody say, how would that happen? Who is going to sign it? The HR of the company now, the human resource manager in that company, or the chairman of the company, or anybody on the board that you have assigned to be able to hire you. And you can be hired as a CEO, you can be hired as IT consultant, you can be hired as whatever role that you want to play within that organization in the United States. So it's really interesting. That's how the O1 visa works. I'm trying to make sure that I don't spend too much time on one because I know we'll still ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we'll jump to EB1
Yeah,
quickly.
let's jump to EB1. By the way, if you have questions, please do well to note your questions down. We're going to take as many questions as we
possible.
can. Yeah. Please, we can go to the EB1.
So we go to the EB1. So the EB1 is also called the alien with extraordinary ability, except that this time around, it is the alien with extraordinary ability green card. So the EB1 is the senior brother of the O1. It is the same requirements that are listed out. Surprisingly. Like, why did they make it like that? But for one, you are able to elect to stay in the US. Now, many of us find this difficult to wrap around our heads that why would anybody choose the O1 over the EB1 if it is the same requirements, right? But what they found out is that there are people who come from countries where they actually don't want to become residents of America. So they need to be able to choose to work in America without being permanent residents. That's why they created that. Does that make sense? But I'm from a country that we know the one who will choose. Why would I? However, regardless, because the EB1 is towards green card, it is giving extra scrutiny. So it is advised for people who don't feel they are inherently qualified that you can say, before you even think about it, this person has 12 titles on Netflix, has won AMVCA 4 times. Do you get what I mean? Like, these are like so clear. Or this person is one that invented and built XYZ. He sold his company for $20 million. It's easy to, like, you can tell. So I didn't sell my company for any $1 million before I got the O1 or EB1. So I'm not saying this to intimidate you. I'm trying to tell you that there are times you will evaluate the criteria and you will say, this is really solid. The other reason why some people will choose the EB1 is if they are not in a rush to leave the country. They are not in a rush at all. It's because processing the EB1, especially on the Nigerian side, can take anywhere between 18 to 24 months. That's after you have gotten approval. So in Water Carrington, they can call you back after 6 months and you won't hear any other thing for another 10 months. Because of the backlog and maybe some other requirements like background check and so on and so forth. So usually we encourage people and say, do the O1, come into America. When you get to America, do your EB1. So that you are stateside when all of that is happening. If you have to wait 18 months within America, and right now it's even better. People have gotten it in 6 months, 3 months now. We have a few clients who got theirs in 6 months, 3 months, November to February. So it's amazing. So the EB1 is the green card equivalent of the O1. There's nothing more I need to say with that. The other difference is that you are not tied to an employer with the EB1. So you are not tied to your own company. Immediately you get to America, you can get what we call a regular job. So now you don't have to be seconded like I explained to say Dallas Construction LLC will be paying CAF to pay you. No. You can work directly with Google. You can work with Microsoft. You can go and get a job with the state government. You can work with anybody with the EB1. It's direct. And it gives you a 10-year green card right away. So it's really tempting, right? It's really tempting. But you want to evaluate with our team whether you truly qualify before you go on and do that. Now, the EB2 NIW, which is the third one now, is basically, so I said, don't forget the first one is exceptional ability visa, temporary work permit. You can continue to, renew it infinitely. EB1, exceptional ability green card. It's for 10 years. Oh, sorry, what will you do after the 10 years? Usually, you won't even wait for 10 years. After 5 years, you'll be qualified for citizenship. There are terms and conditions. Terms are going to apply. You haven't been committing crime. You lived in the country for a certain amount of time. All of those things. But ideally, you'll be qualified for citizenship within 5 years of that 10-year green card. And why did they make it 10 years when you could just have gotten the 5-year green card? Because they know some people travel around the world, like architects, for example. So let's say you spend time in Nigeria, you do this, you do that. Your own required time to be in the US, which qualifies you for the citizenship, may not, gather quickly, in time. So you might need more time to be able to do that. Like I have a friend, when he got his green card like this, he was just traveling the world for the first 2 years. 2 years, Mexico, 6 months. Like all the places that don't require visa anymore, once you have a green card, you go just going there. Albania, 3 months. Then he came back and said, guys, I think I'm ready for my citizenship now. And then he stayed put and, then he's getting ready. So there are people like that, and there's nothing wrong in being someone like that. There are also people who can't get a U.S. citizenship. They just don't want it. Few examples. Like I hear Professor Wole Soyinka, after he got his Nobel laureate, got his green card, like, even threatening something that's going to shred into pieces. That's political conversation. If somebody wins or doesn't win. Anyways, the U.S. green card essentially can be something that you keep renewing as well. So after that 10 years, if you're eligible and you still don't become a citizen, you can keep renewing it. So that's. I wanted to close that on the EB1, so that you know that the investment you are making is worth it. If you have a family of 5, just divide the cost of the visa over everybody, and you see that it's really cheap. Seriously, like people don't think about it that way. But I know countries that I won't mention right now, because we also have pathways that go there. So it's not like maybe we favorite one country over the other. Actually, we do. But yeah, there are countries that will say all 4 of you must have proof of funds, including a baby. Including a baby must have proof of funds. Some of those countries, what they are doing is that, and we're launching in one of them later this year, what they are doing is that money you are bringing into their economy is the average salary of somebody that lives there. Average annual salary is what you are bringing as a Nigerian. We're so special. You go into a country with $40,000, because that's what the government says you should bring. So the EB101, no proof of fund requirements. The US doesn't do that. No, there's another country that you have to pay insurance for the number of years that you get the visa. The US doesn't do that as well. I'm saying all of this because I still have licenses pending in some of these countries. So, so I'm not mentioning any country. So you really don't have, to, pay for insurance and do all of that, if you are coming to America. So that is what is interesting. Then the EB1 as well covers your spouse. And the advantage over the O1 is that your spouse can work immediately. For the O1, your spouse can't work immediately on that visa. And that's another thing that is interesting. People believe cannot work on that visa means cannot work at all. Cannot work on that visa means that, she can move into the country legally. He can move into the country legally, because we've had principal applicants, both female and male, who brought their spouses, not just men, And then I think we might have even had more women approvals. I don't know. We might. But maybe because I noticed the women more. Yeah, maybe. So essentially, you would be able to bring your spouse to the United States, and it covers them. For the O1, the spouse won't be able to work immediately on that visa, but they can eventually, maybe they can go to school, they can get sponsored by another company. There's all kind of opportunities that can come by virtue of them just being inside America. When you are inside, you can go for physical job interviews. When you are inside, you can have coffee with the head of HR of somewhere. When you are inside, there's just so much you can do when you are inside. So that's why I always tell people, don't worry about that and say, one person is not working. It requires planning, because I know how it can be if 2 people are working versus one person is working. It requires planning, but it's nothing strange or out of the ordinary. So let's move to EB2NIW. How many people here have an advanced degree, master's degree? Anybody? Masters? Okay, great. So this is for you, if you have a master's degree. But if you have a bachelor's as well, anybody? Bachelor's or bachelor's equivalent? Most of us, the rest of us. Let me not assume, but most of us. So bachelor's degree with 5 years experience is what qualifies you for the EB2NIW, plus other documentations I will still mention. The EB2NIW is basically an employment-based visa, but it is different from when they say ordinary EB2. There is EB2 and there's EB2NIW. The EB2NIW is different from the regular EB2. EB is just employment-based. So the EB2NIW is different from the EB2 in that it is a national interest waiver. Our team is trying to demonstrate that you are working in a field that is of national interest to America. And what we do is that we look at your resume and we see whether you are in a field. Our attorneys look at your resume and they give you a response and say you're actually in one of the fields. Those fields have been listed somewhere on the US government website where we can find it. And then we simply do a matching with our systems to be sure that you truly qualify. But you must have a bachelor's degree plus 5 years experience, or, I didn't say and, or a master's degree or PhD, but you don't have to have years of work experience with any of those. So let's say you just finished your master's today, you are qualified. You don't need to have worked with that master's. If you have a PhD today and all you've done is just work in academia to get your PhD, you've never worked anywhere else with that PhD, no postdoc, nothing, you can actually use it to get the EB2NIW. Now, the certificate is not the only thing. We still have to demonstrate that you are working in a field where we can qualify you as someone of extraordinary ability. Except that this time around, this particular stuff is more dependent on working in a field that really affects America. And at the end of the day, it's also a 10-year green card. Covers your family and all of that. So we are fronting these three right now. The reason is because we've gained so much expertise in them. The US has how many visa types? A, maybe 200, I don't know. J, B, all the letters of the alphabet, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of each of them. Yeah? I know. So they go like that, J1, J2, J3, J4, P1, P3. There's a visa for people that sing on band. If you're a band singer, there's a special visa. It's not visiting visa. Special visa, P3. There's an entertainment visa. If you need any of those, our team has expertise in this as well, but we're fronting these three. Recently, we made a call for gospel artists. So if you know somebody who is a choir leader, diligent choir leader, who has been doing it for some time, I'm serious. You have somebody who is a choir master, who is a guitarist, bass guitarist, special. This guy in the old houses is the best. And there's a letter to prove it. We're going to get him an O1B visa. Because he needs to expand his ministry abroad. That the work of God has to be done everywhere. Come on now. There's somebody from Winners there. He's like, come on now. So you can actually take that, as well. So we focus on those O1, EB1, EB2NIW, and these visa types, people are getting it every day. Like, go and check our pages. You see approvals. We're even tired of posting approvals. We're always seeing approvals. Yesterday, we're driving in the car. AA posted another approval. Like, we just keep seeing approvals. We're excited about it. Now, for any of these visa types, it is the responsibility of the USCIS to still determine whether you will get it. So the prerogative of approval is with the USCIS. We always make this clear because it's what separates us from fraudulent people who say that it's guaranteed. Just pay us, you will get it. I've seen people pay $10,000. I've not heard, though. I've seen people pay $10,000 for B1, B2. That's for visiting visa to America. Yes, they've been told that they know people in the embassy. Have you heard people like that? Who say, this thing is everywhere. Oh. It's not only when you both have they collect. Oh. You have you known anything like that before? I've heard it. People have paid. I know somebody who has paid. Not that they told me. And they were duped, of course. They didn't even get the visa. In fact, he didn't get interview dates. Let alone getting rejected. So it is the prerogative of the USCIS, we have to tell you. But as educated folks and people that we work with, you will see, this is a merit-based process. You will see the requirements. When architect said he was rejected the first time, I'm sure some of you were like, can I still get rejected after they've approved me in America? This happens occasionally. But because it is a petition-based approval, the approval has been done from America. What it means is that you can keep going back. Our hope is not that you have to go back twice. In fact, this happens occasionally, as I've said. Most people just get it. But you can just meet a case officer who looks like you and say, this document says this guy is exceptional, but he doesn't look exceptional. I'm serious. There are some people. Let me tell you about a brother of mine who went. And he said he wasn't confident about how he dressed the day he went. And he went with his children. They are very tall. And his wife. And they didn't give them. He went second time. They didn't give him. Then he went the third time and took 16 of the books he has written. 16. He's an author. He took it like this, everything, and took it there. He said, how can you see these books that I've written? Can you write these books? And tell me I'm not exceptional. And he got it. Follow the true story. He's based in Houston. And he moved to America. And when he moved to America, so he told us, he said, maybe how he dressed that day, he told us. He said, he's not sure because nobody can be sure. Maybe how he dressed the first time, so by the time he was going back, he was like the global coach that he says he is, and all of that. You know, and when his wife and his kids went back, they got their visa as well. I've also seen a family that went, popular person in this country, you know, they went, you know, and they didn't give the wife. They gave everybody, including the son. They didn't give the wife. She was like, what happened here? You know that is very dangerous. You will explain tire when you get home. Because the wife is like, are you sure you didn't plan this, that? It's only you and children that are going. So, but eventually she went back. She went back, and it was just that they had a baby abroad before, and they wanted to see the receipt that they paid for their child when they came. Paid the hospital bills, not for their child. Paid the hospital bills when they came initially. You know, so all of these things could happen. Some little objection, like your website wasn't loading the day you went. You know, and things like that could make somebody to say, okay, I'll put this under what we call administrative processing. But it doesn't have to bother you because you've already gotten approved. It's approved by Homeland Security. In the US, they've done your background check, they've seen everything, you know, before they then ask you to come here. So that's it about the O1, EB1, and EB2. I'm sure for some of you that are hearing this, you can probably even explain it to other people, you know, based on some of these explanations that I've given today.
It's a free clarity session.
Free clarity session, right? And then the final one is the H-1B visa. So the H-1B visa is a visa type that many companies have been using for a long time. In fact, I've heard about this visa type since like my days at Microsoft. You know, Microsoft, Google, all these guys, they use it to hire people from all over the world. They want to get diverse talents. America can't supply all the talents that America needs. They need to get people from everywhere. So the US government established it for a way for companies to hire people abroad. The moment the US started it, it wasn't a lottery at first. It was just like companies would just file for people and they will be selected. That's it. But then they realize now that these companies are hiring so many people internationally. Sometimes up to 285,000 people every year. So they decided that since the cap of this thing is 60,000, that's the much we can take through this route, not through all the routes. H1B has 60,000 cap, essentially an additional 20,000. 2025, please correct me, lawyers. You know, guys, hope you know that I'm not the lawyer. I'm just the one that likes to tell stories. So, you know, there's an extra 20,000 that they reserve for people with master's degree from the US. So if you got a master's in America, or you know somebody who went to master's in America, all these things are so simple, people don't know. And when they don't know, they argue that it doesn't exist. You hear people like, how can they pick people abroad when some of us in America have not even been able to convert? Are they the one that made you not to collect? They've said that this is the structure. You said, this must be fake. How can you from Nigeria get this visa? You'll be surprised. I've had people that even me are shocked when I received them in Dallas. You too. To the glory of God. He said, he's H1B. KPMG hired me. I said, what? KPMG hired you. Just like that. 85,000 salary. First job. Never worked before. Graduated from school, applied, got a job. People have got a job in Citibank. I'm not talking about people that live in Lagos. You know, some of us did not grow up in Lagos. You know, they used to victimize us. Those are not Lagosians. I didn't grow up. I'm talking about people that applied from Ibadan, Akure, Ilorin. They got a job. So the H-1B visa has been existing like that. You know, and now every year now, because the demand is always more than the cap, they now have to run a lottery so that they give everybody the chance. So, and that's the lottery that we're talking about. It's not Vesti that conducts it. Vesti can register you for it because we're an enabler in that sense. So Vesti registered people this year, over 1,000 people, you know, and over 200 of them were selected. You know, that will deserve a clap now. You know, some of them came in the morning. You know, they came to be part of the session we had earlier today, and it was just so great to see them. Because it's a lottery. Like, you know, it's just people of every field and life calling, old, young and old. Met very young people, met people in their 50s, in their 40s. Yes, I met people today who were talking to AA by my assessment. I don't know if it's Lagos, but by my assessment, I could tell that this is a middle-aged person. So it's not just people that are just leaving school. It's everybody that's what the lottery, as long as you have a bachelor's degree or equivalent. HND is an equivalent of the bachelor's degree. You just need to evaluate your credential to show that you are, then that's how you get into the lottery. So why am I talking about it now? Because 2025 lottery is going to be here soon. The USIS called that 2026 lottery. Because in 2024, they called 2024 lottery 2025. So the 2026 lottery, but in 2025 calendar year, is not open yet, and it won't be open until March next year. But we already have a wait list that we have created. Some of these things will be displayed, you know, some we can, you know, give you the emails and all of that, but preferably they should be displayed. I hope my team is here, Blessing, Bumi, like you guys should work out something on how to display these things so that they can see towards the end. I don't know, we still have support for visuals, maybe Samuel and all of that. Please, it will be easier that way. So the wait list already exists, and we think that we will open it up later this year, before even next year. The reason is because it was very hard for us to do everything within March this last year, and we had to refund a lot of people because it was just too much. We had 2,000 calls from only 200 calls, 300 calls we used to have in a month before. We had about 2,000 something calls. So it was really hard. So we think we may open it around October. So we'll get on the wait list, and there will be some incentives for getting on the wait list early for this year. So, and why is it important? Actually, you've talked to me about O1. Why should I be doing H1B? Let me tell you my philosophy about moving abroad. If you want to move abroad 1 year, in one particular year, that's the year you want to move abroad, you can't use just one method. Architect, you know why I don't blame you for doing what you did? If it had worked, and you had gotten your approval, what you'll have just done is say, guys, I know I paid for this already. How much have you guys used? What's my refund? Usually we give service credits. We don't give cash refunds. So we give service credits. You can use it for any family member, for yourself, or any other legal thing. We file work permits. We do other things that are legal stuff, so you always can use that. So that's what you will have done. And truth be told, we would have been happy for you because you got your green card. That's really what you want. We have other services. We're a banking platform, like we're a financial services platform. That's really what we want. What we want, sir, is that those 7 deals, you should do the payment through our platform somehow. That's what we want. If there are ways we can provide value to you, that's what we want. We want to be able to get mortgage financing for the people that you're designing for. We want to be able to all kind of things.
That's the every moment after.
Every moment after. So it's not Agbaje. That's the moment after. So that's it. So we care about that. We care about that journey. Let me give you an instance. There are hundreds of people. I can dare say thousands of people because I've seen testimonials. We have them in uncountable numbers. And don't forget, there's also a formula. Like if 10 people go, it's one person that will tell you. You know this. So we've done webinars with 6,000 people. That people have arrived in the UK. I meet them randomly in train stations, randomly at events in the UK, and say, I'm in America today because of you. I'm in the UK because of you. Oh, we did this. So there are people that have moved that didn't necessarily even, do the service with us, but they did this because of us, because we talked about it, because we did a webinar about it, because they downloaded the app and found out that, there was a pathway called XYZ. So that joy is there. So what I'm saying in essence is, if you are trying to move abroad this year, you need to have multiple options within the same frame. So you can be applying to schools for education and still be doing your EB1 documentation. That's the truth. I have a friend, successful real estate guy in Lagos, successful, like you would know his name if I mentioned. He wanted to do his EB2NIW, but he also wanted to move with speed because he was just tired. He had lost his dad after a protracted illness, and he just wanted to move. Great guy. And after doing the evaluation and all of that, he felt like this EB2 will take time. And he got an admission into a master's program and chose a field that is directly related to real estate so that he can understand how to move into the US market. And now he did that. His entire family got a visa. They moved to America as students, and he started his EB2NIW in the same vein. So the process or what you choose will be dependent on things like how quickly you want to move, what resources are available, and so on and so forth. Also, the H1B may not be for you. It could be for your relative, your brothers, because you might have finished your process by then, but just know that actually exists. So that's the extra. I've done O1, EB1, EB2, and H1B clarity session in one. I deserve a round of applause.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, I think we can do better than that. This is a free clarity session, I must say. I've got a few questions here, but before I go into this, I really want to talk about, the importance of these particular events that we typically hold every quarter, which is the Going Global events. Many of us here that are here, I want to say that you are very privileged to be here, to listen to these insights that are being shared, because these Going Global events are ways in which we share insights about migration. So many people, they work with assumptions, and you don't want to go on your migration pathway just on mere assumptions or what somebody said, and you're running with that to pursue a particular migration goal. No. But it's good to always listen to those who are experts in the field, and they can give you tailored assistance, on a particular migration pathway. So the point I'm making is this Going Global. So you need to really pay attention to the work we do at Vesti. Like, you need to watch out. Like, these guys, they are always organizing going global events. These events like this are where you can really get some free information. Perhaps you've been seeing that we say, come on a clarity session, you speak to our immigration Anthony's, you get insights, then you make commitment, then you start the process. But events like this, you get an avenue to hear, first-hand information, first-hand insights about different migration pathways that you want to take advantage of. Also, we typically organize webinars. Every now and then, if you are someone that you've been following us, you will see that we organize webinars that talk about all these different pathways. And on those webinars, what do we talk about? We talk about everything he has said right here. Free information that you just get right on those sessions that we typically organize. And so the charge I'm making right here is that if you know someone that should take advantage of all these opportunities we are sharing, please tell them to join our webinars. Tell them to watch out for our next Going Global event. In fact, we organize these Going Global events across all the countries that we've typically expanded to. Going Global events in Ghana, in Zambia, in the UK, in the US, in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, across the globe. So you just need to watch out and, find out where is the next Going Global event that Vesti is going to be organizing. I really want to hear what they are saying, and not just hearing, but taking action to say that, yes, I've come to a point where I want to, take action step towards achieving that particular migration goal. I want to take these questions now, but before I take this, I want to charge us. If you have questions, I know many of us have questions. I would just like to take turns. We just give ourselves numbers so we know how many questions we are taking, and we wrap up the session within a particular period of time. So if you have questions, please signify by raise of hands, and we just give ourselves numbers, and we know that, yes, we are done with the roll call for questions, and we'll wrap up the session.
And there are no silly questions. So as many questions as you can ask. The clarity session costs $99. And you're still going to do it, by the way. You're still going to do it because the lawyers you have to hear from the lawyers. So but I'll explain all that when we're done.
So if you have questions,
you can ask all the questions you want to ask now, so that you won't really have any serious questions during the clarity session.
I just want to give them numbers. So I'll give you 1, 2. Who else on this side? 3. Then 4, 5, 6. Any other person? 7. Please know your numbers. I have 7 people. Any other person who wants to ask question? I know there may be some questions. And also, if your question has been asked, please do us the honors by declining to ask your question so we can save some time. Are we good?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to take these 2 questions right here, then we go according to the serial numbers I've given. All right. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience so far. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so the first question I have here says, can someone with MBA and a 10 years working experience in the banking sector but presently out of job still apply for EB2 NIW?
Absolutely. So you met certain criteria already. You have an advanced degree, which is your MBA. In addition to that, which is not compulsory, you have 10 years work experience. The fact that you're not in a job right now doesn't matter at all. You might be asked to bring a record of your past employment. So if you have your offer letter from 10 years ago, you have your any reference letters from people you've worked with, you'll be guided on how to do that. We give templates and all the guidance. But if the answer is actually yes. You can be evaluated as a financial analyst, can be evaluated as a banking operations specialist, can be evaluated as quite a number of titles that I am aware of.
Fantastic. This is a very interesting question. Someone here listening to you talk about these different pathways and is just so inquisitive about what is the cost of all these pathways you've been talking about. The question says, please talk about the cost of each of these visa pathway and the processing time, the timeline and the costs.
Thank you. That's a very important question. We almost missed that. I can suspect I know the person that asked that question. It's probably not the one, but he's laughing. Well, you and him had the conversation earlier. So, and he already knows the cost, so he's probably asking for that, but if he's the one that asked. So the first visa type I talked about was the O1 visa, right? So the O1 visa, as of today, wait, have I forgotten the cost of the visas? Because it's been a price revision April 1st. Where is Miss Bumi? Where's Miss Bumi? So I don't call wrong numbers. I'll be an issue. So the US government changed the pricing on 1st of April this year. And they haven't changed the price in like 5 years. So basically there are 3 tiers. There is the The basic, that's the cost of the petition. There is the expedited. Expedited means you want to hear your response in 2 weeks, in 15 working days. We're not the one that designed it, though, it's the US government. You know, instead of bribe, they just created a system where if you pay us, we'll do it fast. They call it premium. So premium processing, 15 days. And less than 15 days, you will hear. 8 days, 9 days. I think there are people here who had theirs like even shorter. So, and then finally, there is documentation support, meaning that, Shola, with all these things you said, with the list of things you said, you know, I think I'm qualified for like 2 or 3, but I would need help to get qualified for the remaining. We have a documentation support service for that, right? So the expedited is not compulsory at all. I believe the O1 visa is still, but me please, the pricing. O1 visa, what's the new price? 15,805, that's altogether. So if we break it down, so 15,805 means Mr. Zachariah looked back because it's like, what? I just dodged a bullet. Because he just did his own as well and, you know, got approved and everything. You know, anyways. $15,805 is the cost. Don't forget this covers your family already. Like, it's just the visa fee in Lagos or Abuja, wherever you're doing the interviews that is going to be. But that already covers documentation support, right? Yes. And it also covers expedited. So without expedited, it's 11,000? 10,000. So the O1 visa will be $10,000 without expediting it, meaning that you get a result from the USCIS within 4 to 6 months. The challenge with that is that if you are somebody that wants to move very fast, imagine they come back to you in 6 months and say, can you help me change the letterhead of JCI? And that's what they ask after 6 months. You know how painful that would be? Or they say, what's the full meaning of ICANN? Do you get? Like they could, because request for evidence or information is basically them asking what they do not understand. So it's always good to expedite if you have the money to. If you don't, I've also seen very, very popular special people, and I say that so that you can know that it's not a shame thing to say I don't have the money for expedited. It's not. This person didn't have money for expedited. They are big, but they didn't want to spend the money for expedited. You know what they did? They filed without expediting and then waited to see whether it will happen quickly. There are 2 friends. For one, it happened quickly. Within 1 month, he got a response, just by luck. The second person, after 4 months, and he didn't get any response. Then he paid for the expedited. Then he got his response in 15 days. So it's really depending on you. So we don't make it compulsory. So 10,000 is the cost of the visa. That amount covers government fees, covers attorney fees, you know, and it covers business registration, I believe, registering a new business. So if you have a business registered already, we'd usually discount the amount by another $300. $200, sorry, I'm sorry. My guy said at the back that is by $200. You know, so the figures are usually shared after the clarity session, so we're just giving you estimates here. Then the documentation support costs $3,000. So if you are somebody who doesn't need documentation support, you are confident. If we find out in the middle of the process that you need documentation support, you'll be told, because imagine they're asking you for stuff and you don't have it. But if you have covered for documentation support, they will provide a guidance, a list of associations to apply to, award bodies to apply to, how to get nominated for this, how to get published, you know, in newspaper, how to get the book written and published. You'll be provided guidance with all of that. So 15,805 is the amount to be able to get that done for the O1 visa. For the EB1 visa, I think it's just 1,000 more. So that's 16,805. This is a green card, requires, the cost with the government is a little on the high side than the O1 when we are paying the government and all of that. And all of this is transparent. You will see how much was paid to the government, everything, when your petition is being filed. For some people, their petition is this. How many pages was the petition, Mr. Zach? 700 pages. His petition, oh yes, that's how much work we do. Like when I take a picture of it and post it online, that is real. 700 pages. We're going to write like a 20-page petition, sometimes 18, sometimes 19, depending on who you are, to explain the evidences. 20 pages to tell the US that this person is special. So it's a merit-based process. The chances are very high. Very high. We only don't say 100% so that we don't make promises we can't keep, because the US government that finally decides. So that's I've mentioned the price for O1 and EB1, and please get your invoice to confirm. Don't come 2 years time, 3 years, and I say they told me the price. Which baker? That was the night they told me the price. You can't change it. No, we can't, because the US government also doesn't, you know, really provide any notices like that. The third one, which is the EB2 NIW, is actually the most affordable. If you look at the fact that, well, actually, it's not. It's $10,000, but the $10,000 covers documentation support. So it's like the cheapest. It covers documentation support already, inherently. And then there is, if you want to expedite that as well, there is 2,805 on top of it to expedite that as well from the USCIS. So, but it's not compulsory to do that. So that makes it 12,805 if you want it all inclusive for that. You know, and another thing that is interesting is Mr. Zach is the other, Mr. Architect Fakonlu was the other person that mentioned the issue of being affordable. You can go and check prices everywhere else. In New York, there are lawyers that charge 21,000 for this, 22,000. Because it's life-changing. There are people from India, China, other countries of the world who will pay any amount just to make sure they can get qualified for this. So it's very affordable from our own end. There are lawyers that charge much more. And also there is the ability to pay in installments, which many companies do not have. I know of companies very popular, you pay the full fee before they can even open your file. For us, all you need to do is pay anything above 50%. We kind of like 60, 70%, but anything above 50% is fine. Because if you pay it, you've paid it. You don't have to worry about getting the dollar later. If it ever goes the way it's not supposed to go. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, essentially, you pay 50% or more, and then you pay the remaining balance just before we're about to submit to the USCIS. I will repeat that. Just before we're about to submit to the USCIS, because this becomes an issue. Many times people write us email and say, you said after I get the result. We did not say so. Because we need all the payment paid to be able to submit to the USCIS. That's not about pricing, about duration, about timelines. So as I said, if you expedite, if we submit, I always start from submission. I don't talk about what happens before submission. Because what happens before submission is a factor of the candidate. There are people who abandon their case, like Mr. Akilafakolu said, from March to June. There are people, I've seen somebody, we started the same day. Our whole one. He didn't move to America until 2 years after I arrived. He did not even file. He didn't submit. And there are genuine reasons sometimes. If you get a new political appointment, or you just got a new job, or, family situation changed. Some people just have children, and they're like, we can't move at this time of our life because we have babies. Things like that. So, and some people just outright, nonchalant attitude and all of that. So I will start from when it is submitted. From when it's submitted to when it gets approved, for both the O1, the EB1, and even the EB2NIW, if it is expedited, it's under 15 days. The USCIS will literally return your money if they don't meet that promise. So, except there is another issue, like maybe they return your money or anything like that, and they ask you to resubmit. But standard is 15 days premium processing period. The US is bound by law, USCIS is bound by law to make a decision on that case because you paid for that. All right? So that's in terms of duration. If you didn't expedite, O1, EB1 could take anywhere between 4 to 6 months before they would adjudicate the case or make a decision on that case. Right? Now, before submitting, it is really your choice. Once you are done gathering evidences, when we do a clarity call for you and you've paid and you start, once you are done gathering evidences, don't worry, we're almost done. I know some of us are tired. Once you're done gathering evidences, it takes us about 3 to 4 weeks to get your petition done. To get your petition done, and we'll send it to you for you to review. Then we agree to go and we submit to the USCIS. So before, I used to be able to say that when I do clarity call sessions like this in 4 points, I used to tell people, you can move by June. This is April. With O1, you can actually move by June. I've seen people who filed in 2 months, in 1 month. I've seen it before. They're just so fast with gathering everything. There are references, corporate recommendations, everything is pam, 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 and they submit. You can move to the US by June on this O1 visa. On EB1, if you get the approval on this side of the planet, that's in Nigeria, between approval and when you can arrive in the US, maybe between 18 to 24 months. And I have to tell you, just as it is, because there's a lot of processing to do on this side. But if you get the EB1 approval and you also happen to have a B1, B2, that's a visiting visa, all you just need to do is to arrive in America and then you start the adjustment while you are in America for the green card. So that 18 months, you don't spend it here. You spend it in America, doing the work that you intended to do. So that I hope that helps in terms of duration. So this thing is something that can happen really quickly. For those that are ready, we are still advertising and saying April is the last sort of batch that we are taking for this year, and we are able to claim that you will get in this year because that's what is practical. Does it mean we won't take people in May, June, July if you are ready? Oh, we will. I'm just saying that we'll be able to say 2024, you can still make it. I believe the first 4 months, because the average person spends around 6 months on this process. Even the ones that promised me that, Mr. Shola, I say I'm coming next month. Once they submit the first letter, you will see 3 weeks, they are still waiting for the second one. So it happens, not us, but usually with people. And life happens. Sometimes it's just really hard to combine everything with livelihood, day-to-day work, and all of that. I know how some of you canceled some things to be here this evening, so we can understand that.
All right. So I want us to be very brief with our questions so we can wrap up this session. So the first, number one. Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Olusola.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I was in your clarity session last year in July.
Okay.
4 Points Hotel,
Okay.
Sheraton. Yes. Even though I tried to meet up with that of Ibadan.
Oh, I see.
Yes, but
Yeah, it didn't
somehow
happen.
I couldn't get there on time.
Yeah.
So but I did that of Lagos.
Awesome.
And unfortunately, hold up, I still came very late that day. I think you were just about 15 minutes.
Into the, at the end of
Yes.
the
So, but I grabbed one or two things, and during the questions section. Okay, thank you for all you've done and the enlightenment you are giving. Part of my business has to do with immigration, but I knew about these things what I read on the website, but I didn't know how to go about, because even when you read it, you can't interpret it just the way you break it down in a more simpler way. So I just focus on the F1 and the B1, B2, and the other ones that I do. So, but however, I've been able to introduce more than 15 people to you,
Wow.
to your organization.
And what's your name, sir?
James Adeyemi.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Please help us appreciate him, please. Thank you. Customers that refer other customers, they are the best.
Then I tried to ask for Olubumi. I've sent mail to her, no response.
Have you seen her today?
I didn't
Once
know
you see
who
her,
she-
just
I
hold
di-
her.
I didn't know who she
Now
is.
she will not identify herself.
And then the feedback I got from those people I referred is not also encouraging.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in fact, there's a pharmacist, a lady that GSK has left the country.
Okay.
And she wanted to travel. I have to refer her, and she didn't go respond.
Well,
Until
we have a process. That's
So-
what architect was talking about. We have a process for. Look, let me give you an example. I have team members that have been here since 6 a.m. like today. Like if a customer was calling them right now, it's pathetic. Like we're running a company, but we also. I'm not making excuses for them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that all you need to assure me is that the process was followed, and we are going to do everything to give them support.
if it is an email, at least it shouldn't take more than a week to be responded.
No, that's even too much.
Most of it are emails. And
That's too much. It's
and
48 hours
I have
maximum.
3 people that I refer you to from US.
Wow.
And they put a call through and they never get follow up.
Call.
Yes.
We don't have call lines.
Okay, you don't have.
We don't have call lines.
Oh, okay.
We
Is
don't.
that
So we don't have call lines for like this program.
okay?
Yeah,
I
we
thought for them to call. Two of them actually paid the
Clarity calls.
The clarity
And they
calls.
did their calls.
Yes,
Okay.
they did that.
That's
okay. So my questions are in fourfold. I will just rush over them. You talk about the book writing,
Yes.
publishing.
Yes.
Is it going to be in your core field of study or generally?
Core field of study.
When you have the expert about management or
Core field of study.
core
That's the simple
field.
answer to it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then if you are rejected at the embassy, just like the way Mr.
Faculty.
Faculty talked about,
Yes.
what is the duration of reapplying?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And how many times can you do that?
No, there's no number of times. We hope you don't have to apply 100 times.
Okay,
But there's
good.
no limit to the amount of times.
Okay,
and
good.
you have to do it immediately. You can do it immediately.
Okay,
there's
good.
no law that says wait for 2 weeks, wait for 3 weeks.
Okay, good.
Because
Then-
you will most likely not meet the officer you met the first time.
Okay.
That's what people don't know.
Okay, good. Then the articles, publications, so newspapers.
Yes.
Does he have to? When you talk about article, there's article where the journalist comes to interview
Yeah.
based on your field.
Yeah.
There is the one you published.
Yep.
Which one are you talking about now?
Yeah, so for us, basically the guidance will be provided once you are on the program. But it must be in your field. It could be any of those, but it must be in your field.
Okay, what I'm asking, when I came in July, I
Yeah.
came because of my own business stuff. I
Yes.
wasn't interested yet,
Yes.
but I think I'm having the interest
Personally.
personally
Okay,
to key in now.
Do you have any other question?
Yes.
Okay.
The last question has to do with okay, what happened to an individual that subscribed I'd already had probably previous immigration issue, like on B1 or B2.
Okay.
So what happened?
What's going to happen with the person? That case has to
Yes.
be taken on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
If the person has immigration issue is a very broad statement. It
Yes.
could have been banned.
Okay,
It
yeah,
could have
ban.
been- do you get what I mean? So ban has to be another conversation entirely.
Okay.
As the person spent the length of their ban,
Okay.
you know, has it finished? If it's a 10-year ban, the person has to serve the term.
Okay.
So it's after the 10 years, then that's it. There's something called a waiver as well, where you have to obtain. Some people finish their ban, but they've not gotten the waiver that
Okay.
says that they can continue. So our team helps with that.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you so much.
Very great question. Let me
Thank
let
you.
me let me answer the one that is not a question, which is a complaint. Let me apologize. You know that because I don't know the exact situation, but if you've written an email for 1 week, you know there's a chance that something happened, and it's usually not intentional. And I'm not just defending because we want business. So usually what happens with email is that it slips through the cracks. So I always tell people if you write an email and you don't get a response in 24 to 48 hours, you need to write a reminder on top of it because you could make a mistake with the email address. It could be that the person didn't read it because that day they had like a pile of emails and before they woke up, you know, it's been covered up. So those reminders always help. So we always do, we say pushing this to the top of your email or in case you miss this. Like I write in case you miss it almost every time because there's somebody you've reached out to that has not done what you asked them to do. In fact, sometimes you know they didn't miss it. We are like, in case you miss this, you know, so that the person will not have excuse. You know, so I would say that for those introductions, that's important. But you are such an important person to us to be sending us 15 people. So I believe you will give you an account manager even, you know, that will literally be able to, you know, be on your beck and call. But part of what Architect was explaining the other time is that it's really hard for us to meet our ambitions and become who we want to be and still remain a Nigerian company in culture. We can't. It can't work. It's the reason why not many Nigerian companies are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So if we want to meet our ambitions, we can't use the sentiment of our culture. We grew up in the crudest of places as well, you know, but we've had to rebirth. You understand what I mean? So we don't get bullied by somebody called me 10 times. You don't call me 10 times. It's wrong. It's unnecessary. It's rude to call me 10 times. It means I don't want to pick your call, you know, or you're calling me at night, you know. So those are these issues, but they are not talked about. They are not issues that are talked about. So if we are trying to help people to move into economies where these things can make you lose a job, we need to begin to train the people.
Just support
Okay.
and all of that. So up till now, they've not got back to me. I asked them. I wanted to do EB1 with them. They told me that I wasn't qualified for O1. I engaged about 4 US companies. All of them told me that I wasn't qualified. I was like, for O1.
For O1.
Yeah, so I think I stumbled upon you on LinkedIn, and I just follow you up, and I came in for the clarity call. For the clarity call, I was given the assurance that I'm more than qualified.
Did I do your clarity call?
No, no.
So I'm saying that because so that you can know there are a team of experts. I was just privileged to be the one to do architects call, and that was in 2022. So there's a team of experts that this is what they do. Otherwise, we won't be able to grow. So I had to say that so that, you know, you guys, people come on call sometimes and say they were expecting to see me or to see my co-founder. Like, we have a team of experts. If they don't do the job, reach out to us or write through the formal complaint channels. But we don't have any of such issues. They're very good.
So I just, though I've, over the couple of years, I've gotten some number of awards. So I just, I started the process, and lo and behold, it was, I delayed the process. I would have
Finished even longer.
finished longer
You are
because
proud.
of
You are
because of my
proud. From
very-
November to now.
because of my
What is it
busy,
in 1
busy,
month?
busy
Schedule,
schedule and,
yes,
all,
yes.
and all of that. But I
Congratulations.
I did it, and within few weeks, I was able to get the stuff right. So my question is this: after we will be traveling before the
in
end
a
of
couple
the-
of years,
in a
yes.
couple of months.
Don't,
So
don't give us the details.
after landing in US as an O1, how soon can you apply for the EB1?
EB1, the
Yeah.
next day.
The next day.
Yes.
Some people are saying there is this 90 days rule.
Who are people?
I just
They are not your
stumbled-
lawyer.
I stumbled
They are
upon
not
it.
your lawyer. Your
Okay,
lawyer
okay.
say from the next day.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So there's no such rule about 90 days because the visas are not dependent on each other. And you could have done the EB1 without having an O1. So why will you having an O1 be the reason why you can't do an EB1? Does that make sense? So essentially, well, it might not make sense, but that's what the law says. But it makes sense to me. But in case it doesn't make sense, but that's what the law says. There's no requirement about how long you can say. As a matter of fact, you will still need to gather documents, a couple of documents, but you already have most of it. So make it happen. I'm excited for you. Congratulations. One thing he didn't say is that, and I won't say who, but he has a relative as well who got into the H1B and the relative got approved as well. I said, this is your year. This is literally your year. That's amazing. We have a family that both the husband and the wife got selected in the lottery. I'm like, what kind of family is this? Because they're so lucky.
Number 3.
Number 3 question, yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kazim Dosumu.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Kazim Dosumu. So I'll just go straight to my question. So I studied civil engineering while in school.
Yes.
But all through the years, I've been into tech, one with the other, volunteering, freelancing, and the likes.
Yeah.
I don't have documented work experience when it comes to programming language, software, and
Country.
So when you are mentioning the O1 visa about, is it O1 visa when you talk about special
exceptional talent.
Yes.
I said it has nothing to do with education.
Yes. So now you are now talking about your core field.
Yes.
What I'm now contemplating is that, I've been trying all sorts of things. I even applied for Vesti 500, 90 days something.
Oh,
Yes,
you did? Did you come on the webinars?
2021.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was part of the first set of.
Yes. Move
Vesti.
abroad in 90 days.
Yes.
Okay.
So I tried to do some of those things, but still, nothing works out. So I want to ask, do I go back to use my civil engineering stuff or still try to, because now I'm even learning some programming languages. I learned a lot just because I just want to position myself.
Yes.
So should I still move ahead with that?
Great question. Since I already know what the question is, great question. So when we talked about core field, we're referring to the EB2, NIW. For O1 and EB1, you are the one who determines what your core field is. Because it doesn't have a bachelor's degree requirement. You could have been an high school dropout, but who is exceptional in web design. Do you understand what I'm saying? So being exceptional, you are the one who chooses the core field. It's not what you studied. But EB2 NIW is directly connected to your field of study that you have a bachelor's in. You can't do EB2 NIW in agriculture. You can't do bachelor's in agriculture, master's in agriculture, and then we now defend that you have national interest in space exploration. There's no way you get. But let's say you studied at Greek, but you built a rocket that was sent to space with Elon Musk, a satellite, and you built for a university as a technician. And you just even have an OND. You're a technician, but your OND you did was in civil engineering or at Greek. But you built that. Your core field will be that space exploration. Does that make sense to you? So that's why you need to talk to experts, so that it's easy. Because I know what some of us will try to do is to quickly see if we can do the consultation here. No, you can't. The questions won't be enough. You won't
Number
have time
4.
to take all the questions. So
You are not asking. God bless
it's
you.
been answered already. Thank
Number
you.
5.
If I likes people like you. These questions are the things standing between us and other things.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Olusola. My name is Shegun. So I have this question about the education. Last year, you had a program about AI submerge.
Okay.
And I applied for it, and along the line, I think I mail you about it, and I mail Ada as well. So I want to know the update about that.
That's a different company. So,
Okay, okay.
it's not that. I will still answer you regardless,
Okay.
but not here.
Okay,
Yeah.
the second question
We
is
just
about...
do immigration here and financial services.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one is about if you are studying online with
Yes.
US, is there any route that you can take? It's online study.
Is it for a degree?
Sorry?
Is it a degree awarding study?
Certification.
Certification, okay.
Yeah. So I want to know if there's any route.
Yeah,
you
certifications. The certifications you do online can support. Certifications you do online can support what you're trying to do. So if you have certifications and you are doing O1, you can add it as part of your education. In that field. If you have certifications and you're doing, let's say, EB2 NIW, you already have your bachelor's, and then maybe you did some certifications extra, we can add it to make a case. Do you understand? But the certification in itself, there's no visa route specifically for certification. The certification can get you a job, and that job will then file for you. Did you get? Now, whether the program is online or offline is not really an issue in America. If it's a degree, whether you did it online or not, it's a degree. If it's a master's, whether you did it online or not, it's a master's. Right? Does that answer your question? That question, at least. You answered that question. That other first question, we'll talk about it afterwards.
6.
Yes.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure.
Okay, I think I did a training with like Coven Works.
Okay.
And then I've been, of course, working after the training. I've gotten a job and all. So recently,
Congratulations.
I was considering like to
Moving
further my
abroad.
studies abroad. So I remember there's like this product Vesti that you guys have. So I went on your page and then went on the page and then I saw like this event and I thought
Awesome.
that it was a
Awesome.
good opportunity.
Thank you.
So I've not had anything about that study part, but like I've been able to like learn about the other pathways.
Other pathways that
I
exist,
could explore.
yes.
But I just want to like, I would like to like,
Maybe I should touch on it a little.
yeah, maybe ask, maybe like provide clarity
On
in
it.
that area because
Yeah.
I'm looking at Canada
Awesome.
actually. So like, how does it work in terms of like the sponsorship? and all?
Awesome, awesome. So, so because this is a going global event that really focuses on special talent visa, that's why we focus on special talent visa. We usually do education fairs as well and education webinars where they explain all of that. But I have my team here. I have people here who are so gracious that they've been here all day, who focus on education. So we have an education pathway program that. So we found out the problems with education is that many people don't even know how to apply to the schools. They don't know how to do their visa interviews and all those things like that. So what we did is we designed a program called Education Pathway where we help you with the entire application. We help you with the entire application. We help you with the visa coaching and all of that. And it's just one payment. And when you do, like, you can keep getting help even if you have a visa rejection. Like him, for example, if he did with us, if he had that visa rejection, like, we won't ask him to pay a second time, for the visa. Like, he might need to pay his application fees for the schools again, but he won't have to pay us for that service again. And our goal, our commitment, we have like an assurance service to make sure that we help you until you get to the country that you're going to. So it's not like all those agents that will just disappear after doing this, all of that. No, we don't do that. So yes, and Canada is one of the countries we support. We actually have a loan program for Canada and the US. So you not only get admission, you can also apply to get a loan. And the money you are paying to us for the service does not cover the approval for the loan. The approval for the loan is independently evaluated by the loan awarding organization. But we'll provide you with all the clarity and how to apply and everything like that. So it's a really, really interesting program. That's the summary of it. And we cover the US, Canada, the UK mostly. A couple of other countries, but you would have to get help on the app. But the ones we focus on are US, Canada, and the UK. We have loans covering US and Canada right now. We're about concluding with a partner that will cover the UK. Did we sign that thing yet? Mr. Gwenga, where's Mr. Sheyi? Did we sign the agreement for the UK yet? Is it live? Not yet. It's not quite live yet. Okay, it will soon be live, hopefully in a couple of weeks for the UK, for those, because UK, we have a lot of customers there as well. We support the UK right now, don't get me wrong, but I mean loans for the UK is what we have not yet finalized. But we give loans up to $100,000 for the US and for Canada. Also for this LB101, we're talking about 15,000, 16,000. We actually give loans for it as well. Yeah, we partnered with, we didn't have that in your time, but we partnered with an organization that basically qualifies you for a conventional loan. I have my colleague here, Mr. Gwenga. I won't talk to him about loan after the session. Mr. Gwenga, that's a fine man staying right there, yes. If you want to talk to him after about loans, please talk to him. Basically, you need a collateral to be able to do that. So it's a collateralized loan. It's not anything you have not heard about before. But because now they are willing to give it to somebody that is moving abroad, that's what makes it different. Because they know that they can track you in any of those countries. So, and of course, you have a collateral anyway. Hopefully, things will get better with that product so that it will be able to do even more than that. Yeah, so if you want to learn more about that loan, it covers any type of migration, as long as it's migration. We won't let you use to buy car.
Migration support loan.
Migration support loan. That's what it supports. Okay.
All right. That's all. Is there any other person with question?
Education, yeah, Miss Bumi. Education. Where are the education people here? We have BD, Bumi, Blessing Faith, Education.
That's Miss Bumi behind.
Right there. Oh, now we have given the identity of Miss Bumi. Anyways, so yeah. So you can talk to her about education, once you're done. Yeah, it's good to see you, by the way, and congrats. Yeah, I remember you now. Yeah.
All right. You're number 7. Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
And this is the last question for the night.
Don't worry, we're still doing networking. So some of you may have some questions. Just be respectful of other people's time, so it will be fast. So that other people can be freed of this bondage of time.
Okay, yeah, good evening. My name is Mojo Ibukola.
Yes.
I run a business, and okay, let me start from I I studied mechanical engineering.
Okay.
But my business is related to renewable energy and home automation and so.
Okay.
So, I have a partner that she's studied accounting, but she's also working in line with the accounting. So, what's your recommendation in applying or migration for?
Did you decide which pathway from like those explanations that you think is more suitable for you guys?
No, that's why I'm asking that now.
Oh, you're
because
asking me based on that. And I
because
don't have
I'm a
enough.
bus-
I don't have enough information.
Okay,
So
I run a business,
Okay.
but it's not related to what I studied in school. So, but the business is, I think, since 2017,
Okay.
and the business is still on till now.
and that business is exceptional. Have you guys been doing remarkable contracts, high volumes, this,
sub-sub,
that?
yeah,
You are winning, have you been
sub-sub.
winning awards? You've been doing sub.
Yes, we work with.
Is there evidence of the sub?
Yes.
You
to
get
some
contracts, you
extent.
write invoices, you do all of
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's exceptional, you've published articles in newspapers. If you haven't done that, we can do that with you. You can do a book on automation, automation industry in West Africa. You can do something like that, There's quite a number of things you can do, and you'll be amazed what would have happened within 6 months.
Okay.
All right, so that's it. But if your wife is exceptional as an accountant, maybe she worked with KPMG or she worked with any of these large firms, she could have a better profile.
Okay.
So, but that's why I said I don't have enough information. The clarity call is going to afford you the time to come with your
I
spouse.
think we've done that.
You've done it already.
Yes.
And you still need clarity.
No,
we owe
because,
you a clarity
no,
call.
I was not around. She did.
She did it,
Yes.
and maybe she knows the answer already. So what you can do is this. Oh, good to see you, ma'am. What we can do is this. Let's talk after,
Okay.
so that I get some more context.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you still don't, get the clarity, you get a complimentary follow-up clarity call.
Okay.
Because the clarity call is meant to give you clarity. So if it doesn't give you clarity, then we owe you to do the call, not the money, to do the call again. So we're more than happy to just, so it's because you were not around, that's why. Yeah, so we can evaluate it. But yeah, what I just said now, you can do a book on automation in West Africa, but you see, we businesses that are run as also, they usually have issues to qualify. But businesses that have been run well, you've been doing your tax clearance, you've been doing all those things, you're a corporate member of this, and if we don't have any of those, we can work on it over a 6-month period.
Okay.
So just know that there is a possibility there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to chatting with you guys after as well.
So I just have one bonus
One more question here. That's fine. It's not me. Me, I can answer questions till midnight. It's just that we can't keep everybody.
All right. Yeah, the last question here says, what happens to monies paid after rejection? Is that 15K the total fees?
What's that? What happens after
The monies paid after rejection.
rejection of what? Which of the rejections? If the petition doesn't get approved, or if you get rejected at the embassy. If you get rejected at the embassy, we told you that's not the end. You just simply go back to apply. Because you see, you don't get the petition. You will see it. It's like a certificate. It says you have been literally invited to come to America, in quotes. That's like the layman English of it. Do you get what I mean? So if you go to the embassy and for some reason, as I said, this happens to maybe 2 out of 100 or 2 out of 20. It's not. What do you mean? At the embassy, you will pay. That's a US visa rule. It's not us. In fact, if they reject somebody because, give me the silliest reason. Because if you come late or you do or your date, or you pay again. Anything that if you cough in that place, you will pay again. It's the way they designed it. No, it's not. We never include the cost of the visa. You know why? It changes from country to country, and the rates of the country changes it. So it's hard to put it. Family size also determines it. So let's say you're a family of 6, then that means the pricing will be different from a family of 2. But instead, we standardized it. So it's your family size that already determine that. No, it's not. It's not. You're a family of 2, for example. Are you guys a family of 4? So he is going to pay the same amount. You pay the same amount. So you are getting more benefit for a family of 4. We should now still add the cost of visa. Yeah, just asking. I know. I'm just kidding. So we usually don't add it. It's not practical to do that because of the family size differences. So yeah, but if you get rejected, the real question I thought you were asking, which I should still answer for anybody, if your petition gets rejected, we do not do refunds. Neither do the USCIS, because the final prerogative of approval is with the USCIS. Do you understand? God forbid that we lie to you and say, oh, we'll give you some money, but no, we don't. Because it's a merit-based process, We did a 700-page petition for you with you. You went through it, and the USIST said no. Our own work has been done. Do you understand? But we have like a 96 point something success rate. Like it's so good. How does Trump say it? So good. There's nothing that's been that good in this world. You know, so because the reason is because we evaluate you to see whether you even qualify, so that we don't waste time. We see if it's a case that you can build. Before we now still submit, we see if it's a strong enough case before we then go and submit it. But all of it still hangs on the balance with the USCIS. But it's such a life-changing thing, and you can see it clearly that they said I should meet 7 requirements. I've met it. The chances of getting it is very high.
All right. If I allow him to keep talking, he will just. We won't
You know that it can be both a compliment and otherwise. Thank you so much.
So I want to really appreciate Mr. Olusola Amusan for creating this time to really address all our concerns in respect to these global talent visas. And he has spoken extensively about it. I hope we've gotten value from this meeting. Can I see some hands up? Fantastic. Can we give ourselves a round of applause?
Thank you so much. So our team is here. I've identified the business, the BD leads. Blessing Faith, I don't know where you guys are, but okay, Bumi, you can speak to them. Where's Blessing? Did she step out? Okay, Mr. Gbenga is there for loans. Please discuss with him. They are here to help, so they can tell you. You can take their contacts, their emails, and all of that, so you can follow up. Please, we're very strong on email. It also helps us to keep quality control. We can see, what the person is doing. If you reach out to somebody when they are tired and unfortunately maybe what they said to you back on WhatsApp sounded rude, we don't encourage that, but it's difficult to make controls of that. Do you get what I mean? So that's why we don't do. I've had my clients, some of my employees being called at 3 a.m., by people, and then they'll still say, I've called him 4 times, he didn't pick. But they won't tell you when they called. I receive emails on Sunday night, on Friday evening, on Saturday morning, and someone say, I've emailed you for 2 days now, no response. On Monday morning, somebody paid for a service on Wednesday, wrote me today via text. I say, I've paid since Wednesday. Nobody has acknowledged today's Friday. I said, that's wrong. I said, please forward it to so-so person. My team should have acknowledged this. They said, actually, they acknowledged the receipts. They've not just acknowledged that they got the money. I said, but they acknowledged the receipt already. So these are issues that we face. But imagine it was phone texts. Even that employee can't be able to defend themselves to say this and that. So one more time, we thank all of you for making our time to be here tonight. Thank you for, especially all my colleagues who have been here since morning, who are still here just to make sure that, they are here to either support with setup or having these conversations with you. We don't do these events all the time. We do it per quarter. So we count it as a real privilege to be able to meet you guys. And one more time, thank you. I'll leave it to Agbaji to round up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please give a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. All right, just like he said, if you have further questions, we can do that as we network after now. Officially, we bring this event to a close. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Thank you.